So I think we're live now. New camera. Can you guys hear me? See me? Ooh. Just gonna wait a couple more minutes. I think I said I started at 1:15, so I don't want people to be late. And then we'll start answering some questions and stuff. It's gonna be kind of laid back. Don't really have a lot of plans. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. Can hear. Good, good. Is the quality okay? Like how's the output? That's a good question. When am I going to do a new Conquering Your Commander? I said I was going to do Mistform, so I'll probably do that at some point when I have more time. Put my phone to do not disturb. Hope everyone's having a good day on this lazy Saturday. Or I guess it's Sunday in some places. Just sent out a tweet. Tweet her. All right. Table talk. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of questions. My favorite uncommon Kaldheim commander is that Moriette, the shapeshifter one. I love that card. It's pretty wild night of Bawa. Chicago. I mean, I have Ramos Mutate, which is pretty jank, but I mean, it's up to you. It depends on what your preferences are and what you enjoy. But yeah, we'll give it another 2 minutes, and then I guess at 1:20 my time, we'll start answering questions. I've got a big word pad open with all of them here, so go through those. Generic goblin noise. I don't know what you're talking about. You can just you can leave a question here, and I'll answer it, or I'll try to anyway. Thanks, Trey. I guess everyone's. Are you guys? I think most of the channel is. It's my birthday, not the channel. I don't know when the channel's birthday is actually. If you're able to, hopefully you're able to get out there and play play some Commander or some Magic or whatever you want to do. I don't think that's in the cards for me for the next couple of weeks, but who knows? That's okay, sleepy recycled cabbage. Alrighty. Give it one more minute and then I'll start answering questions. That's very sweet of you to say, Dean. I hope you're doing well. So some of the questions I actually wrote the person's name down who asked it. Other people did not get that honor, unfortunately, but yeah. Wyatt, I don't know if I changed it. I just made a bunch of videos. Wow, Evan, CZ, that's harsh. All right. So the first question is, who is my favorite person named Adam? Which is kind of tough because there's a lot of Adams in the world who I know and like. But oh, generic goblin beat it. Thank you, Tomer. Colossal Dreadmaw. Jeez. Canvaros, unfortunately, I'm lactose intolerant, so I only like hard cheese that don't cause me to become violently ill. So that's something. As for my favorite Adam, I don't know. I don't. Evan, I'm just teasing you. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone has their likes. It's all good, man. But yeah, I like Evil Adam. I like not Evil Adams. I like all Adams who enjoy EDH. They're good with me. Bad cookies. Unfortunately, it is not Titania. Um, the next question. Are you ever going to play with your fans or followers? Kind of. I hope to eventually. I've started doing a little bit of that with the Patreon patrons. So that's been a nice way to dip my toes into it. But the semantics of organizing it with people is difficult. So I am Canadian, yes. I was born in Montreal and I live in Ottawa. What makes you love the Goblin Gang so much? Because goblins are awesome. Someone asked, what's the name of the goblin that shows up at the beginning of each episode? I don't actually have a name for that goblin, so that's kind of awkward. And next up is, when am I going to be a guest in game nights? This is actually, no, this is this is water. It's bubbly water. But with game nights, the problem is that we live on like literally opposite sides of basically the continent. So I don't know. Maybe eventually, hopefully. How many largest number of counters of shame? I think it was that one episode where I played Derevi and it got like 30 plus. It was pretty bad. I did not pay attention to any of those. What are your... I love any commander that people enjoy playing and that seem to be well matched up to the table's power. You could bring Derevi. Yeah, the goblin's name is Adam. You could play a Derevi deck that if it works well with everyone else at the table, I mean, that's Gucci with me, so it's all good. How many generic goblins are there? That's a good question. Many generic goblins. So many generic goblins. As you hear in the intro, which was featured by Ashlyn, which is super rad to work with. How many pairs of husbands have you collected for your reserves of Magic players? That is also a good question. I don't know if I go about collecting them, but it seems to be kind of cool. I got these married couples who enjoy playing together, and I think that's super awesome. And I'm glad to have been able to showcase their love for each other and for the game. It's pretty sweet. What are some of your... I don't mind playing against stacks. No, I don't. It's not the end of the world. What's my favorite and least favorite deck I've made and why? That's tough. I think there's a bunch of decks that I've taken apart very quickly after playing them once or twice, just because they're not what I wanted to do or not what I wanted to set out to do. The Volrath deck comes to mind, which I think Tomer inspired me to make, and it was super exciting to build, and then I just couldn't get it to work well, and that really bummed me out. But you'd hang out with any Planeswalker, which would you love to hang out with most? I would say probably Venser. He was the first one I opened, and I loved Venser. I loved blinking things. I thought it was fantastic. So Venser would be pretty rad if he wasn't dead. What's the most expensive card I own? I have 3 Gaia's Cradles, but I picked them up a long time ago as I was discussing with a friend, and they have since gone up remarkably so. Tomer is a bad influence. Tomer is bad. So I have someone just asked Mistform, which is kind of funny because I just put my Mistform, the foil from Legions, in the altar sleeve, that the project that I worked with, it's Emilio Seren. He did an incredible job. If you can see this, it's just absolutely gorgeous, and I like the fact that like there's foil underneath it, which looks super cool. I haven't aligned it perfectly. I need to do a better job of that. Unfortunately, as I was putting it into the actual sleeve itself, it wrote up a little bit because the sleeve is a bit too tight. But yeah, I love Mistform. I have another one from an altarist who does like foil peels, and they sent this to me, and it's super rad, and I think they're super nice. So, have I ever considered betraying Mistform with Orvar? It's unfortunately already happened. Mistform and so I have my camera flipped. I can actually flip it back if people would prefer. Hold on. Oop. Yeah, so I mean, Mistform is super special to me, but unfortunately Orvar is just slightly, well, it's strictly better. So what am I gonna do? It's fun. I did keep the deck relatively similar to Mistform, whereas the focus is on making token copies of the Lords, as opposed to just kind of comboing off and going nuts. I'm hoping to get some actual gameplay videos with that once Ontario is a little bit less intensely locked down, which is unfortunate right now. Mistform is not my favorite deck to play. My favorite deck to play is probably, or it used to be Zedruu. Zedruu, for the longest time, was my favorite deck, in so much as that it had multiple ways to win, and it never had the same way of winning. I never found I was playing the same thing over and over and over again. What do you think of the new Strixhaven support? I haven't looked at any of the Strixhaven cards. I'm super guilty of that. One of your study. I had a couple ideas for some other channels, which I'm going to hopefully work on in the future. Right now, I do not have the time, unfortunately, so we'll see how that goes once things progress. But one of the questions that a lot of people ask me, and that a lot of people are curious about, is what got me into recording them. And that's a funny story. I used to work in a kitchen. I worked in a private kitchen for a long, long time, and I slipped and I hurt my back. I misaligned 3 discs in my lower right side, and I was in physio for about 6 months, 5 days a week. Brutal, brutal stuff. And when I got out of it, I didn't really want to go back into a kitchen. And so I was looking for a new job. I was trying to find something to do. And I was playing EDH probably 2 or 3 nights a week at stores. And I was watching and consuming EDH content constantly. Gameplays by Clonehead, Top and Go Productions, all kinds of fun stuff like that. And I was like, well, I want to try my hand at it. So I did, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And then I just decided to keep doing it. So, Hoy Hogethet, hope I'm pronouncing that properly, asked if I'm going to do Pauper Commander. We're actually in the process of doing a cycle of decks, and I say it's Martin, Nick, and Max, and myself, of the uncommon partner commanders from Commander Legends. We're building a deck around them with a $100 budget. So it's not exactly Pauper, but it's more in line with somewhat people have been asking, which is like a budget-based deck. So hopefully that'll tickle some people's fancies, and it's just also a fun kind of building restriction that normally I don't force onto myself. So it's been a unique challenge because I'm not able to just like jam all my swords in and jam not Stoneheater Giant. Well, actually that is a card I put in, but Stoneforge Mystic. So thank you, Oscar. Any other political commanders I play? Or no, I don't really have any other ones, unfortunately, no. Zedru, which is now Elsha, although I did build another Zedru deck, which is somewhere in my office. I don't know exactly where. I have built a version of Zedru, and I have Elsha as well. So those are my thing. You have a partnership with Alder Sleeves. Do you know someone can get an Alder submitted? I think you have to go to the website and look into that. That's the thing. Do I have a job outside of the channel? I used to do technical writing. And before that, I worked in post-production for a company that did stuff for Netflix, which, funny enough, before that, almost took a job writing the descriptions of the backs of, you know how DVDs have descriptions on the back of summaries of what happens, basically, to get people to tune in? I almost did that, but for adult content. The only reason I didn't take that job was because the job in post-production for Netflix had benefits. So I didn't take it in the end. Your soothing voice helps me fall asleep at night. Thanks for posting that. You're welcome, Marissa. We're looking forward to filming more games whenever it's safe. Yeah, Mark, I'm hoping to do some more as well soon. Do I have a favorite LGS to play at? No. I mean, all the stores are great. Everyone is so nice at the stores, and all the owners are usually super, super welcoming. And the nice thing about stores is you go in and you almost always can meet a new face, or there's a new deck, or there's a new idea, and it's synopsis. Yeah, there we go. It's just a lot of fun. I love that element of it, and I've actually struggled with it a lot, not being able to do that this year because it just kind of has become very mechanical without having that social element to it. So, do all recorded Commander games eventually become videos? No. Sometimes there are ginormous mistakes that go unseen, and as a result, I just can't use it because like someone didn't track their life total properly, or someone misinterpreted how a card gets played. Things like that can really ruin a game. And I mean, there are already enough mistakes in my games to begin with. I don't want one as big as that to go through. Lighting tables. What store do you remember having the best place to film? Eric, there was a really good store in New Jersey called Platinum Star Games. What I loved about them is basically the front and the two sides of it were just ceiling to floor windows. And so if you went on a sunny day, it was just flooded with natural light and there was no glare and it was always clean and it was so beautiful. And I loved it. It was super easy to sort of set up a camera in any spot and have beautifully well lit areas for everyone to see everything. What cards make the least fun for? Yeah, Zura's Weirding is awful, Mark. I mean, yeah. Telepathy is really bad. So, any tips for starting an EDH to a channel? Just do it. Find some friends you want to record with, record, and just keep at it because it's the only. It's you have to. There's. I don't know how to describe the success that I've experienced. I think it just happened to be a lot of uh, right place, right time kind of scenario. But consistency is number one, I think, in terms of posting. If you want to do something and get people to be interested, make a schedule and maintain that schedule as much as you can. Thanks, Chris. Love your commentary and gameplay. Keep the great work. That's very nice of you. Which of your friends' decks do you not like playing against? I mean, I like playing against all of them. Would I accept games commander? Josh Lane Con? Possibly. I mean, send me an email and we can discuss it. That being said, I've never done that before, but I guess I could consider it. Wondering if you currently have any goblins. Yeah, I have Krenko and Duretti's a goblin, so it's like I have two. And Mistform is technically, or Orvar is technically a goblin, so it's like three. Boom. Let's answer another question. Someone asked me, do you prefer firearms? Goodness, and if so, what's your favorite? No, I don't have a gun. I don't like guns. What's my favorite 80s, 90s, or early thousands movie? My favorite movie is the 1985 animated film, the Transformers film. I love it so much. It's a pretty traumatic movie for 8-year-olds just when I saw it. What first got me into EDH and what was my first deck? My first deck was Krenko, that much I can tell you. What got me into it was I used to play Standard. My wife and I would go on Friday nights, we play Standard, and it was fun. I played Innistrad to Ravnica, or Return to Ravnica, basically. And we would play and play and play, and I just remember getting to the point where I was in university, we were paying rent, it was expensive, and I was like, I really don't want to have to keep investing in these like type 1 decks. And my buddy Zach and Henry and a lot of the guys who were at the shop I played at were like, you got to try this format. You got to try this format. There's no rotation. You can play whatever you want. It's super fun, and that's what we got into. And then shortly after that, the first Commander decks came out, and I remember buying one of all of them except for the Sultai one, and that was pretty much it. I got exclusively into it, and it was super fun. See, everything. I don't know. You guys are so nice for saying that. Do you still play Set in the Druid Tribal? I don't have a Set in deck. I think you're confusing me with someone who's been on my channel. I think it was Ariel who had one, but I think he still plays his, yes. Do I own or work at a card shop? No, I am at this point exclusively doing YouTube content because the pandemic has made it difficult for other people to find work, myself included. Am I a fan of them catering more to Commander and Standard sets like they have recently? I don't know. I don't know if I say they can. I know they're doing it intentionally because it's their biggest seller, but I don't have a problem with it. I think Standard is still pretty. Excuse me, fizzy water. It's still pretty good, and it's I think it's pretty rad. I think we're getting a lot of content but is you should head to New World Manga, New Jersey. It's a great one. Coach, I don't actually live in New Jersey anymore. I live in Ottawa, so it's a bit out of the ways for me, unfortunately. Tell your... No. You enjoy the east end of town. When are things... Yeah, Orleans is great. I'm hoping to film at Kessel Run a little bit, and Red Dragon, and Multizone, and then Wizard's Tower eventually again. But what would you think about fans making decks and you guys playing them? Josh, that's really difficult because a lot of the times where I film, I don't have the same group of players. I have random people, so it's difficult for me to be like, hey, you three random people in this store, go build these decks. Favorite video on my channel? I think favorite video. That's a good question. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. My favorite basic land art is the mountain that's painted so it looks like it's filled with goblins. It's from Jumpstart. It's from one of the Jumpstart mountains. I love that one. It's super nice. So, what is my favorite board wipe? Probably Blasphemous Act. Has Jesper Ising's decks in his mana tap you ruined my opinion of Denmark? No. I love playing with those guys. They're hilarious. They're a really, really great group of people. Max, we'll play eventually at Game Breakers. Don't worry. What do I think of the new expansion of D&D? I think it's cool. I play D&D. I'm actually working on finalizing with my brother-in-law editing a D&D series, which we filmed, I'm going to say October 2019. It's just taken a long time to put together because it was my most ambitious project yet. It was 4 cameras, 3 microphones, and even still, there were still a lot of mistakes. And hopefully it comes out pretty well. It should be done. I'm hoping to have it done with his help probably in a couple months. So that'll be a lot of fun. Marisol was taken apart, so unless Harry plays it, we're not getting more of that. And Jesper is like Skeletor, yes. What is my favorite piece of spot removal? I think Path to Exile. Path to Exile is pretty sweet. Carlo, I did deck tech videos on decks that I played. I never felt comfortable doing them on decks that I don't play because I don't really feel opinionated or strong enough to tell you what you should or should not consider running. I also think it's very subjective to your meta, which is a large reason that I've moved away from that kind of content because I don't know what your store is like. I don't know what your play group is like, unfortunately. And for me to come in and say like, hey, you have to run this card, this card, and this card, I don't want to say it left a bad taste in my mouth, but I don't feel qualified to be able to do that. So that's kind of the reason why I've moved away from the deck techs, and mostly just focused on videos. And I'm hoping to do some legacy videos as well, which is a lot of fun. What should I play next, Max? I don't know. You should play Super Mario Brothers. My favorite deck, probably Zedru. Probably still Zedru. The win cons in it are flavorful and fun and weird. People don't necessarily know how to deal with it. And that's a really, I'm sorry, I'm getting super distracted by comments because there's like a million questions being asked. And I'm also playing with this with my hands because I'm awkward and socially anxious. What are our overall thoughts on altars? I think altars are great. I have an altered Craterhoof Behemoth in my Prosh deck. I think they're super cool. It was done by a local artist. I have an altered Prosh as well, actually, so that's a lot of fun. And yeah, it's a little Muldrotha decklist we saw in multiple of your videos. JJK, I mean, that's unfortunately there's Muldrotha in a lot of videos. I don't know which one you're referring to. Typically, if the deck list is not in the game, it's because I don't have access to it, and possibly not access to the person who plays it. What do I think about CDH? I think CDH is cool. I think if everyone at the table is on the same page, you can have a lot of fun. So people have asked why I run classical music in a lot of my videos, and that is because in a lot of cases they're royalty free. So that means that I'm not going to get flagged and demonetized. And I also just like classical music. I think it's funny that like wizards are like blasting spells and summoning monsters, and you got like this like relaxed piano music going in the background. So it's a lot of fun. Thoughts on triple commander decks, partners with companion. Um, I have yet to come across one. I think maybe I've come across one, but that's pretty rad. That's kind of cool. Am I Team Mirrodin or Team Phyrexia? Probably Team Mirrodin because Koth was with them and I loved Koth, but Phyrexians do have pretty sweet stuff. Read, I film, I'll say like 90% of the content that you... If I'm playing EDH, I typically film it if I can. Carlo, how would I have no way of knowing that. That's a bit of a loaded question, unfortunately. Which takes longer, playing a game of EDH or editing a video takes like 20 hours, so definitely that. Unless you're playing some crazy commander. How do I assess power level when sitting down at a table? Do you reevaluate it? So typically what happens is if I know the group of people, I try and organize them based on that. If I don't know the people, we'll do one game, and then usually it becomes very obvious if the people are like matched up in terms of power. If they're not, I'll switch them out, because usually in most scenarios I have both of my cameras filming. So if one pod doesn't fit well with one person, I'll bring them over to the other pod. So that's how I balance it at the time. And if it's become clear that the one person in question or the two people in question or whatever are very much not adhering to the idea of like not being pub stompers just because they want to win and have a video of them winning, I unfortunately I don't invite them back to play with me. How many decks are in my collection? I have currently like 9 or 12. I don't know. A lot. There's quite a few. I mean, there's some that are like, you can't see it over here, but just this way. There's 3 on my desk, unsleeved in various states. So, but yeah, it's a lot of questions. This is the most social interaction I've had in like 16 months. Let's see, what part of your editing process takes the longest? Do you edit your videos or do you have... I do, at this point, I've hired someone to help me write the scripts. What that means is, that's very kind of you, John. Uh, he'll write the script. So basically, they'll sit down. I'll send them a game. They write out what happens. I narrate it and then edit it up. Basically, for the most part, though, I do all of the work you see that comes out. So that's kind of cool. Gives me a lot of control over what I want to do and how I want it to look. So it's maybe we'll look into bringing out more people to help edit if it means that I can get more videos out. But for the time being, with my lack of filming going on right now, I don't think I can do more than 2. Already as it is, I'm using older games, which are they're good, but I like showcasing new content. I enjoy that element. I get excited when someone has a new deck with the new commanders and a new mechanic. I think that's a lot of fun. Do I only I play EDH and I play Legacy. I play Legacy Elves, although I haven't updated the deck since Allosaurus Shepherd came out because I don't want to pay $200 per in Canadian money. Taylor Hammer pork roll. I don't eat pork. I just not a big fan of it. Let's see. Let's get another question from the ones that were tweeted at me or in my Discord. Oh my questions. Can I talk about threat assessment at the table? How you evaluate players' actual threat versus potential threat? That is a very hard to answer question. I think a lot of people have trouble with threat assessment at tables. There's like multiple factors to it because you have to factor in things like the unknown, what is in their deck, what are they playing, how much mana do they have, all that kind of stuff. So it's tough. It's threat assessment is hard. Usually I'm very reactive, which isn't always the best. So how many days out of the week do I play EDH? Currently 0. Right now, none. In a normal scenario, it could be 2 to 3, and typically I'm at a store for between, we'll say, 2 to 8 hours, and usually all of that is basically filming. How many days out of the week? Oh, when they have the price. Oh, goodness. I don't adhere to any deck building principles. I build decks just kind of willy-nilly, and then I tweak them as I go. Every Monday and Thursday. Thank you, David. I was actually in Germany for a little while, but I didn't really play EDH, and that was only when the channel started, so I didn't really record either. What is my obsession with pickles and golf carts? I love pickles. I love pickles. Golf carts, don't have a strong obsession with. When did I first play Magic? I first played Magic grade school, I guess. This was it was either revised or 4th edition, and this was when we didn't really have a concept of how to play. I think I must have been like 6 or 7, and I was just into the card art and collecting aspect at that point. So I think I have like vague recollections of trading things like Sylvan Libraries and Soul Rings for Earth Elemental and Water Elemental, which in hindsight was probably not my best move, but when you're a kid, I mean, like, I didn't factor in the value, the intrinsic value of the things. I thought it was just cardboard. I thought everyone opened them and that was the same thing, and that like there was no there weren't chase cards, there weren't expensive cards. I had no concept of any of that at that time. You must have had a lot of it. I at one point, I think when the lockdown started, I had something like 300 plus games at that point. I'm down to significantly less than that. Um, Oftentimes when I'd go to a store, I'd film anywhere between 2 to 6 games, and so like that's basically in one night I'd film about 3 weeks worth of content. And if I was filming 2 nights a week, I mean that's like a month and a half. So it was it added up very quickly, and I was very fortunate to be in a position where I could basically take a whole year off of filming. Best tool to keep your deck lists. I use Moxfield right now. I used to use Tapped Out, but I found it became kind of slow to load sometimes, which was very frustrating. And Moxfield is just really easy. It's really like simple to plug and play old lists and stuff like that. So, you ever upload videos that were recorded a couple of yeah, Shell Blidor's Rival? It's that's basically all I'm doing right now is using older games, unfortunately. What is my favorite movie? I really liked Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one. I thought that was fantastic. But for the most part, it's I still love the old cartoon GI Joe and Transformers movies from the '80s because I'm old, and they're part of my childhood. So I have a real nostalgia goggles um, for them. But have I ever considered building Cadena? I have, but unfortunately the problem is that so many people have a Cadena deck. I don't really want to build a deck that overlaps with other people's decks. I like to have sort of variety, which it's probably silly because I can always just, not play it at the same time, but I am old. I'm 36. I am old as heck. How do I balance budget and power level of decks? I don't think budget and power level are intrinsically linked. I think you can run dual lands and then have a completely poor deck that does nothing, and it can still be worth thousands of dollars. Or you can have a deck like Yissen, who doesn't run duels, doesn't necessarily need a Gaia's Cradle, and can just blast people out. So Villa's question. Ooh. I don't know. It's balancing decks is really hard. Um, you're right, Nanabawa, but I feel it. I feel it. I would say that my colorless commander deck is probably to ready, even though he has red in them. But favorite EDH moment? I don't know. I do not know. There are so many good moments. I love it when people die to mana crypt triggers. I love it when people go wide and get super ambitious with like Kiki combo. And then I think the example I'm going to be using is the one where I kill Mike with a Rakdos Signet. No, Rakdos Charm? No. Yeah, I guess it's Rakdos Charm, where it deals damage to players based on how many creatures they have. Like, there's a fantastic way to. There's so many good moments in EDH, and there's new ones popping up all the time, and it's a lot of fun. What is the pet card that you slot into your decks? I was a big fan of, for a long time, Martyr's Cause, I think it's called. It's a white enchantment, and you sacrifice a creature, and you prevent the damage from target. No, not even target. You prevent the damage from a source of your choice. So it gets around targeting. It's this weird white enchantment. I used to use it in Carador and Zedru a lot, and it was a lot of fun. How do I produce 2 paper Magic games per week? A lot of work. Hey, Paul. Yeah, Mike. It was funny because I was telling Mike, I was like, "Oh, you haven't won on the channel in a while," and he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Hopefully, I'll be able to get a good win and showcase my deck." And he went for the win, and I had like the perfect answer. It just I don't like to um, fake wins or fake games, basically. Where if I like to play out my outs, and if he had a counter, or if he had a way to protect himself, that's fine too. So like it's you got to do it. You gotta play it. And you got to do it. How do you see Urza Saga impacting ETH? There's a lot of cool cards. Old Magic cards are pretty wild. A lot of stuff that when they were starting designing in a more broad space, things that have very clearly become too powerful for them. Seeing them learn from it was kind of cool, and then having these cards to harken back to is always fun to see as well. Thank you. I like my face as well. Um, Someone asked, I've been making games for a while. Have my feelings about games changed at all? If so, how? Um, when I first started making videos, I came in with the mindset like I was playing in standard, which was winning equal good, losing equal bad. And it quickly became clear that with 3 other people at the table, there's going to be a lot more losing, there's going to be winning. And so for me, what was important was learning to not necessarily be a good loser, because I'm always very, I'm okay with losing. I have no problems with losing. And what became more and more important for me with the channel, especially, was the idea that the game had, like, I didn't have to win a game for it to be a good game, as long as A, everyone at the table was having a lot of fun, and B, a lot of really cool stuff happened, and everyone's deck at least got like a couple minutes to shine and showcase what they were trying to do. That to me is what made um, is what made a game good for me. So yeah, like I'm saying, basically, whether I win or lose is not a big issue anymore. The important thing is um, just having fun with friends and getting cool games out of it. Did I ever get to see the data that commands on? Yes. No, it did not catch me off guard because Josh Lee Kwai emailed me asking me if he could use the videos, and I was more than happy to contribute some data points. So that was kind of cool. It was, I mean, like they're nice guys. I talked to DJ a lot, who Jumbo Commander, who was working with them or still working with them, I guess, at the time. So it just seemed like a really cool opportunity for people to get some stats. What is my favorite hobby outside of Magic? I am a fairly avid comic book collector and reader. I'm wearing like an Infinity t-shirt. I don't buy as much anymore. Comic books, unfortunately, have gotten very, very expensive. Nice to meet you at an LGS and get a few games in. Reed Dwarf, ooh, I don't want to say who are you, but like I don't remember what shop we may not have played at. So, but I'm sure we got some good games in. But yeah, my favorite hobby outside of that is basically yeah, comic books. I love to read. I'm a huge, huge reader. Books, comics, anything. So really just it's a lot of fun. I love reading in general. I think it's since a young age it's been something that I've enjoyed immensely, and it's a huge comfort. And my throat is getting dry. Just a really like a nice way to pass the time and also expand your vocabulary, get different perspectives. Like I love reading. What do I like the most about Magic? Um, my favorite part about Magic as of now is the fact that um, if you have followed the channel, you'll know that I've moved uh, cities quite a bit. It's the fact that I can go pretty much, thank you, Thomas, I can go to pretty much any city or any major city, we'll say, and there's going to be a Magic community. And I'm able to just join it and make friends and have somewhere I can go and be happy and comfortable and unwind and just like I think someone put it like without like Magic without the gathering isn't as much fun, and that is very, very true. And for me, I've been no, Eleanor, I'm okay, thank you. Um, I'm very fortunate in that I'm able to do uh, this effectively as a career at this point and make friends and interact with people and share in a common hobby and passion and just I consider myself very fortunate, very, very fortunate to be in this position. Someone wants to know about the ban list and if I'm happy with it. For the most part, like I think the rules committee does a great job. I've never really had an issue with them banning or unbanning anything. I've also, I mean, I played Modern. I played Storm when Modern came out. They banned Soothing Song. I got really upset. I then moved to Birthing Pod. They banned Birthing Pod. I got really upset. Then I was like, you know what? I'll build one more deck. They banned this. Whatever. I'm out. I'm done. So I built Grixis Splinter Twin, and they banned that. And it was very frustrating and disheartening that a crucial part of my deck would get banned, whereas in EDH, um, stuff that gets banned usually is just these innocuous and frustrating cards. Like I was tired of seeing Sylvan Primordial, Prophet of Kruphix in every single Simic deck, and they're just exhausting, exhausting to always play against the same thing over and over and over again. So, I'll answer one of the questions. Can I name 3 cards I love the most? Goblin Bombardment, Goblin Engineer, Krenko. Do I think sideboards in EDH should be a thing? No. I don't think we need sideboards. But I don't know, there's like a lot to be said about that. And the idea about having um those like lesson cards that just came out with Strixhaven accessible, is kind of cool, but then it's also a bit of a headache because you have to track all that. I can understand why they're not a thing. So yes, I did buy a coffee grinder. I bought a silent one, and I haven't tested it yet. Actually, I'm still working my way through. I had to buy some Keurig pods, which I was really frustrated with, but I'm hoping to grind some coffee soon enough. How much did I spend on my first real EDH deck? I bought Krenko from TCG Player. I'd have to go online and look, but I think in 2012, and I think I spent $100 on that deck. And it's had a lot of changes, but the big cards I think at that time that I bought were like Mana Echoes, which was a $10 card or something like ridiculously cheap compared to now. So I didn't spend much, but with anything, especially with collectibles, they go up over time. So yeah, don't want to change all the deck boxes from 100 cards to 115. Yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, it's ever played a Mathis Fiend Seeker? No, but I've played against one, and it was kind of cool. How many sides does a circle have? What card do I hate? Hate is such a strong, strong word. I don't hate any cards. Dislike I dislike when anything is used in a means that does not forward a game state. So if you're just casting land destruction just to do it as like a joke, um, I will dislike that play, but I will not dislike the card. Palanque, I am in Ontario. Yes, I live in Ottawa. Most sigh-inducing card to play against from games played. So it's not a real card, but anytime Pat from New Jersey pulls out his Izzet deck and uses those Pokemon card lands or energy cards as his lands, I die a little bit inside. One piece of advice you new match player. Um, don't sell all of your cards if you lose interest in it, because you might come back. So I think that people who don't want to play, who give up EDH, are fine. Like you can scoop at any time, and like I just ask usually that they don't do it while on camera, and that they play it out. So, have I ever played Saskia the Unyielding? No. What is the favorite commander that I've never played myself? Probably Angus Mackenzie, but I think it's Angus Mackenzie. It's the band Fog Commander seems really really funny, but I probably would not be fun to play against now that I'm thinking about it. Thank you, Ramilo. What are my thoughts on Chaos decks in general? I'm actually fine with them. We have a game hopefully coming out soon. Oh yeah. Oh, I was there that one time. I went to Red Dragon once to scout it out just to see. I'd spoken to Dan about filming there, and then I just haven't made it back out yet. But now it's significantly closer to where I live, so that's nice. And I hope to be playing and filming there by fall, please. Please. Wow. From Serbia. Thank you, Milos. I hope I'm saying your name right. Have you ever had single one another player out for no reason in a game? I mean, I do when it's Frank, but there is a reason for that, and that's because it's Frank. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. What's my favorite birthday present? Whoa, that is a soul searching kind of question. I don't know. I've gotten some pretty wonderful birthday gifts. Um, Speaking of which, it's actually show you. This is my wife made this for me. It's the I think it's cross stitch. We'll call it. It's very dusty because it's been on my floor and I haven't hung it out yet. But it's the Green Lanterns, and I think it's super rad. he says as he puts it back on the floor. Have I ever drawn a god hand and just thought no one will believe me? It's difficult to write. No, and people already question whether or not we stack our hands in the beginning of games, and I think that would make it even less believable. So, would you like more budget or high tier decks? I like both. I like both. As long as the decks are similar at the table, you can have fun with anything. I can have a great time playing a $50 deck. I can have a great time playing a $400 deck. I could have a great time playing a $4,000 deck. My favorite Green Lantern is probably Hal Jordan, but John Stewart is a probably tied with Hal Jordan, mostly because he was in the Justice League cartoon, and it was fantastic. I don't know, Joel. Why is your voice so fantastic? Why did you start playing Commander or other formats? Money, Aiden. It was cheaper. How long until Trevor makes his own channel? I've told him to do a workout channel, but he doesn't seem interested. Who's my favorite Justice Society of America hero? Definitely not Wildcat. I don't like Wildcat. I really wanted to see the Stargirl series. Oh wow, thank you very much. South America, wow. That is so kind of you, Season Pyromancer. Thank you so much. Can Gabby be consistent? Gabby can be consistent unless I'm playing it, in which case it's a bit of a disaster. Oh, that's so kind of you, Adam. That's super sweet. You guys are so nice. I'm gonna start crying soon. It's gonna be awkward. Trevor should start at 45 life because he's so diesel. Goodness, goodness. Why do you record the opening hands? Why or how? Because I mean, for me, it's important to know because it gives the viewer a sense of um, what the deck is without necessarily having to have each person explain what their deck does. So I think that's kind of a really nice uh, precursor to getting into the game itself. But I oftentimes, when I'm playing on Discord, forget because everyone's talking and we're excited and fun. And do I own any graded cards or comics? No. I have a lot of old comics. Basically, if we were to make this wall invisible, I have a lot of comics from the 70s or 80s in frames. Why does your playgroup keep low land count hand? I don't know. I don't know. Some people keep. Thank you, Jason. Some people keep really sketchy hands because they think it's going to pay off, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. Trevor should. If we did +5 life for Trevor's biceps, his biceps have biceps, so we're looking at like +20 life each. So it would get way out of control. He is probably one of the most fit people I know and will ever meet in my entire life. Let's go with another question. How do you maintain a healthy playgroup? Basically by talking. The videos with Jesper and the Danes are hilarious. I love playing with them. There's a good reason there's a reason why I don't include the audio, and that was originally it was because I filmed mostly in French and people would not have been as interested. But when I play with them, there's a lot of cursing. So and we give Jesper a really hard time, and he loves it and he laughs, and it's fantastic. Games are always interesting. That's very kind of you, Aiden. Thank you very much. But so yeah, how do you maintain a healthy play group? You discuss it, you talk, you interact, you be honest with each other, and just oh my goodness, Trevor and Scott flex off. I'd be super down to see that. Super down to see that. but basically, yeah, talking. If I mean, Adam is one of the Adams that I play with, and he's always very forward about asking, like, hey, you know, I played this deck. What did you guys think? Was it too strong? Was it too fast? Was it too mean? And that's how you cultivate a healthy. I mean, with anything like relationships, friendships, anything like that. If you talk to the people you are with, you will usually get a much better response and experience and balance from everything. So try talking to my playgroup that only play combo isn't from the upgraded TNT. I mean, that's unfortunate, seasoned. I mean, that's part of the learning curve, is that if some people enjoy that, and if that's what they want to do, that's great. But you're not forced to have to play with them, which is it's unfortunate sometimes. How many gameplay videos do I have backlogged? Um, I mean, I have games from 2016 still, but I'm hoping to use cursing in French. No, they curse in Danish. I don't understand what they're saying, and I don't really curse in French. I curse in Quebecois, which is blasphemous and hilarious and weird. How many gameplay videos? But yeah, I have a lot of backlog, which is why I'm trying to use them intermittently and stagger stuff out, because some of them are just like old, and people are writing comments where they're like, "Hey, why isn't so and so playing this win condition?" And it's like, well, actually, it wasn't printed back then, so you can't. Take care, Toka. Do lots of people you play with use proxies or all? So, Ralphie, that's a bit of a misconception. Some people do play with proxies, and that's fine. In some cases, people are rich. I know Trevor is he likes to bling out his decks, and that's one of his big um, that's one of his hobbies. And so that's, but a lot of people I know have been playing Magic for 10 plus years, 15 plus years in some cases, and you just kind of accumulate a lot of cards. And back when they were playing, like, my first Badlands, or my only Badlands, was $45 Canadian. That's how much I picked it up for. My first Gaia's Cradle was $50. So that's kind of expensive depending on how you look at it. But compared to now, it's so much more expensive and so much more ridiculous. And it's it's tough. Like it's hard to pick up some of these older cards nowadays. And so in which case I have no problem with people running proxies, because I would be so hesitant to buy anything over $100 that isn't, like, I don't know. I don't even know. Like, I trade in a lot of stuff for cards that are expensive. Like, I picked up a couple of those Zendikar Rising expeditions, but I don't know. Like, it's tough. It's tough right now. There's a lot of demand for these cards. Should do oh my goodness, 4-player free for all Xenagos game. Whew. That would be a fast game. That's one of the problems, is that if a game is too short, I can't use it. I can't use it. I got like 15-minute games that are just, someone gets this like really nutty opening hand and just dumpsters the table. Some people, that's unfortunate. Which is your best and worst planeswalker? My best planeswalker is Duretti, and my worst planeswalker is also Duretti, because unfortunately, sometimes he disappoints me. Let's go with another question from what was being before. First deck, as I've said, excuse me, Krenko. Definitely Krenko. But my favorite deck, it's so hard to pick a favorite deck, and I can't. I love, like, you, that's part of the fun of it, is you build a new deck, and then you play a new deck, and you play a new deck against other new decks, and then that deck performs differently than if you played it against this deck. And like, there's just these like constantly changing lines and additions and power levels, and it's just a lot of fun and fantastic. Someone asked about, what was it? Tristani? Am I still running Tristani? Yes. Tristani is still together. It's just I haven't had a chance to update her, so which is unfortunate. Thoughts on Soul Rings at casual tables? From my experience, the person that gets Soul Ring in their opener always pops off, and it's hard to beat them. Quentin, I've had the opposite experience, mostly because I spent a lot of time in New Jersey playing with Trevor, whose motto was, if you have a Soul Ring and I don't, I'm going to kill you. So that kind of skewed how people played Soul Ring. So I think actually that was one of the stats that they came up with in the Command Zone video where they did statistics of my games, where they found that people in my games who played Soul Ring turn 1 through 3 were more likely to die than in any other games. So, LMAO Fishy, I currently, this is my full-time job. What I'm doing right now, making videos for YouTube, is a full-time job. What do you think the average length real-time is of games you record? So the sweet spot for me with games, and this is probably not going to answer the question perfectly, the sweet spot is about 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes. Usually that condenses down to about 15 to 17 minutes, which I think usually makes for the most interesting games. Anything over an hour and a half plus is typically, I put it to the back of my edit log, mostly because they take so long to script and so long to edit that I can actually do usually 2 games in the time that it takes me to do that. And so it just, yeah, it de-incentivizes me a little bit. Raphael, you're joking, but like at the same time, there are times where people will hold Soul Ring to not pull or to not put a target on their back early on, because if you don't need it, you don't have to run it out immediately. Do I still like playing Tristani? I love playing Tristani. There's a Tristani game coming out. I'd have to look, but within the next 3 weeks, there's a Tristani game coming out. Judson, there is not currently a way to vote on decks played. That might change in the future, but right now I don't have that set up. Other than Magic, what's something that you probably spend too much money on but don't regret? Bagels. I eat a lot of bagels. Oh, that's very sweet of you. Very, very kind of you. You are all very generous. Too much. Trevor is, I think, one of the sweetest and nicest people who I've ever met. And my playgroup in New Jersey, consisting of like Harry, Sean, Mike, Matt, Trevor, Bree, made it really hard when we moved back to Canada. It was really I miss them a lot, but thankfully, the only upside about the pandemic was the fact that I'm able to play with them over Discord now, and it's given everyone a reason to sort of buy webcams and get together and do that. So it's kind of nice. So can you? Okay, I'm not gonna make a tribal deck. No, thank you. Let's cool it with spamming the same question over and over again. That's not a great way to get me to answer questions. My islands are from Paul. New York bagels are not what I'm talking about. I'm afraid it's Montreal style or nothing. Ooh, 2:30 a.m. in Malaysia. Goodness, get some sleep. Tristani is still around, so nothing's changed with her really. But right now I'm doing webcam EDH games with my patrons for the most part, and it's been a lot of fun. I get to meet a lot of cool people all over the world, and logistically it's a bit of a nightmare because I don't always ask what time zone people are in, and we've had people who are in like plus 5 hours from me, and then another person's like 3 hours behind me, and it's pretty crazy. Can I make tribal? No, I don't know anyone else who has tribal decks. It's like me and Tomer. So if I can get Tomer, sure. But it's tough. But I've worked with other content creators. I've done a stream with Mental Misplay. I have done I've done stuff with Team Turn 3. I made video with Jolt and Commander Replay, and yeah, there's like, it's super nice to be able to reach out to people and just like talk and play with these guys. And I'm hoping to do more podcasts. I would love, and I'm really hoping, we talked about it, but it's just a matter of finding a schedule that works together. Joe and Michael from I Hate Your Deck, I'm hoping to do some stuff with them. They seem like super nice people. I would love to play again with Rachel Weeks. It's just, there's a lot of people. It's just a matter of finding time. Playing with Jesper is hilarious, and he is a sweetheart, and I will deny saying that, but he's very funny. He's a very, very funny guy. Very nice, very friendly. Hoping to be able to go to Denmark eventually and play with them in person and record with them in person, so we'll see how that goes. Would you ever like to be on? Yeah, I would love to be on Commander Clash again. I hope Tomer invites me back again. What is my favorite basic land art? I'm really partial to the John Avon Return to Ravnica mountains that look like forges. It's got like a lot of these beautiful reds and purples in it in the foil. It's the basic that I put for Duretti. It's my favorite one by a large margin. Do I have any newer decks that people haven't seen yet? Orvar hasn't really made much of an appearance. I have Gyruda, which I'm hoping to build, and I have a hold on, let me see if I can find the actual cards. I have a Arden and Armix, which I'm hoping to put together eventually. That's the budget deck that I'm building. So it'll be a lot of fun once those are together and ready to play. And I'd never see your all white. I don't have an all white order deck. It's what? There was a there was someone who actually made one to be on channel, and unfortunately we didn't get time. I say unfortunately with a smile, to film it. But Sam still has it, so he'll probably be back and play it. I will suffer through it. Do I post my deck list somewhere you can check out? There's a Mox field. If you see the Mox field lists in my About section, just click on that, and that'll usually bring me to my channel, or my profile. My decks, if they're there, are there. And if they're not, it's because they're either being fixed or I forgot. What's my least favorite color combo? Blue. I don't like blue. I play it, but I usually play it in a way that is the least blue, like with Orvar Combat and Mistform Combat. I much prefer Jund-based colors, black, red, green. White is kind of fun in a cursory way. I like it with enchantments. But otherwise, blue is my least favorite Magic color. It's not even close. I will play almost anything I can except for blue if I can help it. When will you or Harry play Marisol again? Harry still has it. I've taken mine apart. I find it became too linear. You always tutor for the same cards initially. You always go for the same kind of win conditions. So that just kind of gets boring for me. What is the funniest comment you've ever read on one of your videos? I mean, there are some unnecessarily mean comments in some of my videos, which because I'm so used to it now, make me laugh. But I don't know. There's a lot of weird comments. People, I mean, you get some of those like bots where they're like, "Hey, did you know blah 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 blah?" So it's just, you get some weird stuff. Thanks, Austin. thoughts on counterspells in casual play. I have no problem with counterspells. I mean there's so many cards that I don't have a problem with. I mean, I don't have a problem with anything really if it's used properly. If you're going to counterspell a Farseek on turn 20, when the person next to you is going to tap with a Cabal Coffers, I might be a little bit annoyed because that doesn't seem like a good use of that counterspell. But I mean, ultimately, that is a choice you are making, and if that ends the game, so be it. But yeah. Do I post my list? Let's see. Another cards. Cards. Again, what card do I hate? Again, I don't hate any cards. I don't hate mass land destruction. I don't really hate anything. I don't have a problem with it as long as, again, it's like it's used properly. What is my favorite mechanical theme? I don't know if I would say is tribal technically a mechanic? Because it's like a card type, so I don't know. I would say tribal if possible. Otherwise, probably artifact based decks followed up. Tomer is gonna learn whether he wants to or not that Hedron Archive is a good card. I don't hate top. It adds time to a game because people use it at the end of every turn as if they don't remember what the top cards were. But it's not a problem card. I mean, like, if you use it properly, you use it. It's fine. What is my opinion on having an EDH cube that has Alden? I think that's super rad, actually, Evan. That's a really cool idea. Bad cookies, thank you very much. That's very, very, very kind of you. Am I going to make any more Conquering Your Commander deck techs? Maybe. It's going to be probably on Orvar. I was going to do it on Mistform, but Mistform is kind of no longer with us. So, would you ever put a video out on how to edit videos to help other budding creators? Judson, if you look up how I make my videos on the channel, you'll find a video where I discuss what I do. In terms of how do you mean like the actual literal, like, second to second edits that I make? Because that would be probably very boring. But we'll see. One of my favorite videos is how much time of your life. It's very possible. Do I like Warp World? Guillaume, no, because there's a game that I'm hoping to edit soon where I cast it like 3 times in one game, and it's like a 4-hour game, so it's pretty cool. Have I had problems with saltiness in my play group, and if so, what do you do against it? Not really. There are people who take winning very seriously, and as a result, do not enjoy being on camera as much. But very often, people will come to terms with it and realize that they enjoy showcasing their decks more than they do winning, or they just stop wanting to be on camera, in which case that's cool too. Like, I'm never going to force someone to be on camera if they don't want to be. That's not a great way to sort of make engaging content. How do I feel personally about Chaos Corp's Warp World? Matt, I kind of answered that a second ago, but I have no problem with it. I think if the deck can win, it's pretty sweet. What are your thoughts on MDFCs, the Gold Crush? Oh yeah, I love them. I love those cards. They're fantastic additions. They're super, super sweet. I think I'm still having a hard time with the how to evaluate them, and like if I should cut lands for the sorcery ones that have the ones that come into play tapped or not. So it's tough. I think they're a great addition because they help people be a bit more flexible, but for the most part, I think they're great. I think they're a fun design space. I obviously have a lot of experience doing videos. Sharing some tips and tricks is all I'm curious about. I mean, Judson, if more people have asked for it, I definitely will consider it. I would be more than happy to do something. I am not an editor by trade. Everything that I've done is self-taught. Josh Lee Kwai actually did a video for free with Adobe a couple weeks ago where he gave some pointers, which should go up soon enough on their on the Adobe channel for free. I would recommend watching that. He gives a lot of kind of insight into processes that they use to help edit down game nights. And considering how big those videos are, it's a good idea to check those out. He gives a lot of like in-depth kind of ideas on how to do that. The cheesiest, memeiest deck you've ever seen pop off. I played against a 5-color Atog deck that's primary win con was that card where you have to have no hand and it has to be the last permanent on the field. That to me seemed like the most memeiest deck ever. What do we got here? How do you feel about Goblin Game? My all-time. I've never played Goblin Game. Maybe I should check it out. That's cool, Matt. I'm glad you enjoyed it already. He's pretty sweet for me. Is power creep real in EDH? I don't know. I mean, it depends on the people you play with. Like, if people are playing very cutthroat, very aggressive, very expensive decks, maybe. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I find EDH does a really good job of like normalizing and stabilizing itself. And if a playgroup finds that like one deck is too powerful, that person's probably not going to be brought back as much. So, Baron Glory, yes, yes. The cheese stands alone is better. You're not wrong, but I don't think we're playing gold border or silver border cards. So, my videos I would not say are better than Star City Games. I would say my videos are different, but for the most part, um, it's a different thing. I loved the original Commander Versus series with David McDarby and Danny West. I love the current Star City Games versus crew. I think they're super, super funny. The chemistry they have is fantastic. I love that they each kind of like adhere to a different style of deck building. I think they have a lot of fun, and I think that's a really great thing to capture on camera. So I really enjoy. I mean, I enjoy all varieties of EDH content. I enjoy the fact that you can watch like a full 2-hour game if you want to, or you can find a 15-minute CDH game online, which is fantastic. Rolfie, I think the more important question is not if Sponge Tribal gets the love it deserves, it's if Brushwag will get more love. What makes you revere and love our Duke of Dumpsters so much? I just love artifacts. I love red, so smashing the two together is always a good time. My videos are okay. Oh, it's this. Um, Power creep is real if you play red. How much do you personally spend on magic out of your own pocket per year? I've been fortunate in the sense that I have a fairly extensive collection, and I had multiple cards that have since spiked to, frankly, ridiculous amounts of money that I've been able to trade in and basically fund and finance most of my decks. So I consider myself very fortunate. I don't want to add that up. I don't spend a lot of money. I don't buy sealed product except for that Commander Legends box last year. I think was the only Magic content or Magic cards that I bought. So I've watched Play to Win quite a bit. I think Dylan and Cameron are hilarious. I think they have such a good chemistry. Punch. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Osgear is, I think, I have a copy of him somewhere. Can't find him. That's awkward. I do have a copy. It's somewhere. It's somewhere. Probably actually, if you can see over there, that pile of comic books and well, the Moloku standing on top of it. That's pressing down on my Commander Legends foils to flatten them out. What's your thoughts on Precon Upguide? I think Tomer does a really good job trying to appeal to the different levels. I think he's got his like what is 25, 50, and 100. I think those are good price points. Not everyone can afford to invest hundreds of dollars into a deck, and it's I think it's nice to have a kind of like a basis point to give you some ideas of where to start with stuff, because there's a lot of cards, and not everyone's able to invest as much time into researching what will work well with a deck and what won't work well with a deck. So I think those are great videos and articles to put together to help you with that. What is the eagle behind this? This is the there was a headset released by World of Warcraft. My wife and I played World of Warcraft very intensely from vanilla to Wrath of the Lich King. She was the main tank for our, I'm going to say the top end guild of our server at the time, but we might have been the top 3. And they had a headset where you could change the modulation of your voice, and it came with these little pods that you could put over it that would change to blue or red depending on whether you were Horde or Alliance kind of stuff. This came with that. This is the Griffin from World of Warcraft. It's supposed to be a little Griffin pet that you get with it as well. So, is there a card you would wish? I would be super happy if they reprinted the reserve list. I own everything except for Underground Sea. I have 3 Gaia's Cradles. I think if it tanked the value of them, but it made it so that other people could have access to them, I think that would be super awesome. I'm a huge fan, Tigum fan. I love the deck, and on 2 videos. Oh, I'm sorry, Renee, but I don't see a lot of Tigums. Is it the blue black one or the blue white one? I don't know competitive Jeskai too much. I don't play a lot of CDH, and again, I don't play a lot of blue. But you could ask the Spike Feeders. I'm sure they would know. Excuse me. Any words to your fans from Brazil? I think you guys are awesome. I think Brazil is awesome. I think it would be really cool to go to Brazil and record EDH and play with you guys. So hopefully I get to do that sometime in the future. I met my wife at well, actually, I met my wife because of a Children of Bodom concert. And we started dating after that. And then I started World of Warcraft because I played EverQuest, and all the people who played EverQuest went to World of Warcraft. And she came over one day, and I was playing my gnome rogue, and she saw it, and she super into it, spent a bunch of time making a troll warrior, only to realize that we played Alliance, and so she had to build a whole thing. But that's how I met her. What content do I watch in my free time? I love Steve 1989. I love the Try channel because something about Irish people's accents while they're drinking or trying spicy foods tickles me. Otherwise, our current obsession that we're watching a lot of is a television show called Escape to the Chateau DIY, where Brits buy chateaus in France and renovate them. And I find it very relaxing and deeply satisfying seeing people restore these old, derelict houses into something beautiful. I think that's super cool. What content? What are my paper EDH decks that I have in my collections? I have Orvar, Ramos, Doretti, Zedru, Elsha, Prosh, Carador, Krenko, Animar, a couple other ones. Ross, I am going to come to Toronto at some point. I was planning to come to GP Toronto. I mean, I'm in Ottawa, so it's not that far away, but we'll see how it goes. Ideally, sooner than later. I have some family out there, so that'd be nice to go and visit. Tomer lives out there. I've played some games with him in person. He's a real sweetheart. It'd be fun to play again with him. So Dick Strawbridge is awesome. He's super relaxing. I watched that and I watched the Great Canadian and Great British Baking Show, and those are my current I don't want to say guilty pleasures, but those are like my, if I want to like chill and just like not have to think about anything or not stress out about anything, you just turn one of those on. You listen to some people baking cakes and like building stuff, and yeah, like it's relaxing. What are your thoughts on people using obtuse cards in creative ways? I think it's rad. I think excuse me. I think the more creative you can get with a deck, the better. Actually, I take it back. Tomer's an awful person. Let's let that sink in for a second. A likely story. Tomer's just watching this whole time. He's like sitting outside my window. I think it's a lot of fun. I like the idea of someone building a commander and even not using the commander for that purpose. I think having like a secret commander in the deck is also pretty swell. I think that's great. No soggy bottoms. Mary Berry would not appreciate the soggy bottom. You gotta have that crisp golden bottom. I'm looking forward to getting back into filming. That's a big exciting feature for me right now. I'm really looking forward to being able to see my friends again and do hopefully initially some garage games with people I know, and then maybe come fall get back into going to shops. I'm really excited. There's a new shop, well, not new shop, but a shop moved about 5 minutes away from where I live, Kessel Run. I'm really hoping to learn the meta there. I think it's gonna be fantastic. I think an all Canadian game, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd be super down to do only Canadians. Maybe go out and play with the spec feeders. What is my opinion on proxies? I have no problem with proxies as long as they are not inappropriate. There are some that are just awkward to look at, we'll say. And I'm not super down in those. Hey Vincent, that is very cool. Multizone is a great shop. I like Dylan, I like the crew there. I'm also playing at Red Dragon and Wizard's Tower and soon to be Kessel Run. But once things are a little bit safer. Is there a mechanic you would love to add into EDH? It's a bit of a tough question. I don't know. I mean, most of the mechanics we already have access to for the most part. Daddy XD MTG, I'm currently not playing with just anyone. Right now it's opened exclusively to my patrons at the $25 a month tier. Even that, I'm having to probably start limiting how many people can get at that tier. There's been a lot of support. People are very kind, but it's difficult organizing people. It's difficult to organize people, and that's before you factor in things like time zones and different playstyles and different decks. Seasoned Pyromancer actually makes a good point. I loved Lieutenant cards; those were fantastic. I liked the idea of like promoting having your commander out. I think that's a great mechanic, actually. Yes, good point. Perhaps add some more soul. Yeah. I mean, like there's a lot of really cool stuff in EDH, and I think there's nothing wrong with going to EDH Rec and taking the most popular build And building that and playing that and having a good time with that, I think that's great. And by saying that, I also think that there's nothing wrong with not doing that and having an idea in your mind and being like, I'm going to do this, and rolling with like a completely random, like more fun rat tribal deck. I mean, that's that's cool too. Like whatever you want, as long as you're having a good time and everyone else at the table's having a good time. I think that's gravy. I think that's really really nice. That's what to me is the biggest draw for EDH by a large margin. So, have there been any questions that I haven't seen or answered? I answered a lot of the ones from the chart. It's been almost an hour and 45 minutes right now, which is a lot of talking. Let's see. Did I miss anything from the list of them? What's the best lesson I've learned from playing EDH about the game and just in general? The biggest lesson I've learned about is specifically that I don't play enough interaction. That has really helped me. I've had to really reevaluate how I build my decks. Oftentimes, I would forego removal, like spot removal and bounce spells, to favor for like just combo pieces or more ways to find combo pieces. But yeah, I've found that more interactions can lead to more interesting games at the same time. So it's a lot of fun. Ever see players getting salty in your videos? Yes, people have gotten upset. Emotions can get heated. People can be frustrated. It's unfortunate. I try to hide it as much as I can because I know that the people in question are often embarrassed by it. So if I can help it, I do not show that. Probably asked already. Any deck you are working on at the moment? Don't answer if you have already done so. No, I don't mind. I'm working on Garuda. I'm still testing my Ramos Mutate deck. I have an Armix and Arden deck. So it's I got a bunch of decks. I just need to film in person more, and that'll be a lot of fun, I think, once I can finally get it. Or I'm gonna be super socially awkward again, like I used to be, or still am. Do I have any questions for you all? Oh goodness, that is a good question, Eleanor. What could I do? Let's say what can I do to improve the videos? What are some things that you all would prefer in the way that I do it, or something that would change it to make it even more enjoyable? What's something that I could do for you, basically, I guess would be my question. What's my favorite goblin? I'm gonna say Goblin Engineer. Any predictions on who will appear in the D&D Magic set? No, but I'm hoping to see some D&D based characters. I'm sure there might be a Dritz Duerden deck for commanders. I think that could probably be kind of cool. Maybe an Alaminster, but those are my only characters that I know from D&D based books. So we'll see. My friend built a Vehicles Jeskai deck. That's super cool. Just question for chat. Companion rules in EDH. Do you need to have it as a companion, or can you have it in... You can have it in your 99 without having to meet the limitations. I love when you show clips of the banter at the table. So I love doing that. I love having the chemistry of the table bleeding over. But again, that's something that not everyone is comfortable with. In some cases, it's not in English, so I try and keep it. Enjoyable and relevant if I can help it. ASMR gameplay video when? Are you gonna do it, Tomer? Because I'll do it with you. We can like alternate back and forth. Possibly give a short description of what each deck game plan is. That's an idea, Eric. I could definitely do that when I know what it is. That's certainly something I think I could add in. Need more party payoffs in D&D. Moro, that is something that a lot of people have brought up. I think that's a good idea. It's just very difficult because in some cases people have their hands like, because of the top down, if they have their hands off the table, like they're close to them, which is what a lot of people do so that their friends can't see the cards, I can't track it, and having to like manually track while I'm editing and all that kind of stuff just seems like it's a lot of work. I know that I think Casual Competitive does it, and that's great. It's just tough. Maybe doing a monthly recap of your most viewed videos and answering questions below the video. That's an idea. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. Or like your format and more conquering your commanders. Something that a lot of people have asked for, so I definitely will probably try and come up with something. Set up the commanders so we can see them. I always can't because of the cards on screen. See, I positioned that intentionally. I always had people put commanders in the center because I thought as long as you see the little icons and the names, it would be clear. But I can definitely try and maybe move it over, and then we'll have it so like the commander's here, the deck is here, and the graveyard's underneath. Let's see. I think you should set up the commander. Your comments sometimes hit the spot, especially during people's poor sequencings, plainly being measures. I mean, I'm happy to criticize myself on camera. I make a lot of mistakes. I'm definitely more aware of it, I think, than other people are, but I try not to be too cutting, we'll say, if someone makes a mistake. I will mention it in the review if there's something that I don't necessarily agree with. Or if there was a tough decision. I think that's a learning experience that everyone can kind of like enjoy and learn from. So there's definitely some. It's important to sort of mention and call stuff out. Maybe having Tom. It's really funny that you're mentioning that. I'm actually thinking about doing kind of like a one-on-one podcast where I have people who I've played with and know in person come on, and we discuss what brought them into EDH, what brought them to the deck that they play, what brought them to the current point that they were at where they were playing. It's just a matter of finding time. Right now, between editing 2 games a week, recording some with patrons on weekends, sleeping, it's tough. It's tough. Perhaps do some deck techs on how to improve. Oof, Dutch, I would love to, but first I would need to watch videos of that type in order to improve myself. So we'll have to see. I saw in one of your videos you had some sweet Richard. Oh, so the Richard King Ferguson, which is actually what I'm using one of them as a mouse pad, are sold through Flipside Gaming's website. They had an exclusive deal where I think his son or someone they know is in the area of where one of their shops was, and they should be still for sale. I think they had quite a few of them left. So if you want to check Flipside Gaming, we'll have those playmats. So, but the interview style stuff for deck techs and things like that is something I'd like to do. But I also want to make sure that the quality of camera and audio are there. So that's something I have to balance out. But like, I'd love to have someone like Trevor come on and explain why he loves his Vile Smasher and Eager deck and how he came to that kind of deck type. Like Jung and Spellslingers is not a traditional style of deck, and I love it. It's one of my favorite decks. So yeah, it's Hercules. Which playmat were you looking for specifically? Kazi, the Flipside Gaming and I worked together for a lot of years. They were one of the first sponsors that I worked with. I was approached by a lot of them, a lot of different companies, and Cool Stuff Inc. came to me and they had a really exciting proposal, and Flipside and I were getting ready to discuss continuation, and I just thought, no ill will to their company and no ill willing, but we wanted to sort of, we each wanted different things, and I wanted to pursue working with cool stuff for the time being. So it's no ill will. I met a lot of really fun and nice people from Flipside Gaming, and I'm happy to send people to the site. I just will no longer have an affiliate code with them. Let's see here. Live deck tech buildings are an idea. It's tough though. I don't know if I'm necessarily as engaging as I would like to be able to do that. So the Dakon Black Base, I would, if I had that, I would mail it to you, but that's one of the ones I don't have anymore. I think I gave it away to a person I played with who also was a big fan of it. But yeah, so I think things are starting to wind down. If anyone has any last minute questions, lay them on me. Otherwise, I think we'll start to say goodbye, so I can go have a cup of tea and just get some sunlight and chill outside for a little bit. Better content. So I bought the camera that I'm on right now is something I hope to plan and film with once I build my in-house studio. It's definitely nicer than the GoPros that I currently use. Sorry, and I hope to sort of get a better idea of how I can make it even nicer than I currently have. So content. Yeah, Mr. Blackblade was spoiled, and I think there's gonna be a legendary squirrel too, which is pretty rad. I might come to the cool stuff place. I mean, we have family who lives in Florida as well, so that could be something we do once I'm able to travel again. Do I have a second job besides content creation? No, not currently. I used to do tech writing, but not anymore. Why didn't you keep making commander and deck analysis videos? So the gameplay videos were a lot more well received. People liked them more. I had more fun doing them. I also did not like doing videos about commanders that I didn't play, so I quickly ran out of stuff to do videos on. Oh yeah, there he is. Oh, that's very nice of you, Adrian. Do I still have the Pillage playmat? I would have to check. Hercules, I'm not sure. I have a lot of playmats, so there is a chance that I do, and probably a good chance that I don't. I give quite a few of them away. KSI, I don't. I'm in Canada. We are under lockdown orders still, a stay from home order. So I actually am not playing in person. I still haven't played in person. I'm hoping to play in person come June. So we'll see how that goes. Tusky is interesting, but I'm hoping that we get like another one with a little bit more flavor than just attack always indestructible squirrel man or squirrel lady. Have you seen the Urza Saga card? Yes, I have. I think that's cool. I think it's a fun card. But yeah. Tomorrow's your birthday, Jose. That's awesome. I mean, Hercules still email me. I'll try and check another day, but I can't promise anything, unfortunately. But yeah, so I think that seems like a good place to stop. I've had a lot of fun. This has been a really cool birthday experience, especially with the lack of being able to get together with people in real life. So it was really nice to be able to see and talk to the 100 and some odd people that have been popping in and out of this, and that's really cool. So I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope everyone's having a lot of fun. I hope if you're able to get in-person games that are doable in a safe and government-abiding fashion, you can. So I will be very envious of you until I'm able to do as well. So otherwise, take care, be kind, and have a lot of fun.